Good evening. This is Akashvani. I am Valsa Williams with the news at 9. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch BJP's month-long mass outreach campaign from Ajmer tomorrow to mark completion of 9 years of government. Home Minister Amit Shah holds a series of meetings with all stakeholders to restore peace in Manipur, assures centre's full assistance. King of Cambodia Norodom Sihamoni meets President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. RBI says country's growth momentum to be sustained in current fiscal amid easing inflationary pressures. Drone strikes hit residential areas of Moscow. Russia accuses Ukraine for attacks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the BJP's month-long mass outreach campaign to mark the completion of 9 years of the government from Ajmer tomorrow by addressing a rally. Mr. Modi is scheduled to reach Ajmer tomorrow afternoon. He will pay obeisance at the Brahma Temple in Pushkar near Ajmer. After this, the Prime Minister will address a public meeting at the Kayad Vishram Sthal. Meanwhile, briefing media in New Delhi, Party General Secretary Tarun Chugh said the BJP has decided to launch a month-long mass outreach campaign to mark the completion of 9 years of the government. He said 51 big rallies will be organized across the country along with 500 meetings at Lok Sabha constituency level. BJP President JP Nadda has described the 9 years of the Narendra Modi government as a regime of service, good governance and welfare of the poor. He said during the period, historic achievements have been made in the areas of national security, self-reliance, global status, economic empowerment and others. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah today chaired an political party meeting this evening in Imphal and appealed to the leaders of parties to help in bringing normalcy and communal harmony in Manipur. Mr. Shah, who arrived in Imphal last night, held a series of meetings with the leader of various civil organization groups today and assured them that the centre is trying its best to bring peace in the state. During the all-political party meeting, the Union Home Minister assured the leaders that the 5 decisions taken during last night's cabinet meeting will be implemented in the state as part of the peace process. These decisions include immediate steps for restoration of normalcy and bringing peace in the state, taking necessary action to improve law and order, expediting relief measures, compensation of 10 lakh rupees to the next of kin of the deceased persons, and a job to one of the family members of the deceased person. Mr. Shah also visited the Churachandpur district this afternoon and met the leader of the Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum there. Earlier, the Union Home Minister met leaders of various civil organizations in Imphal. President Draupadi Murmu held productive talks with King of Cambodia Norodom Sihamoni at Rashtrapati Bhavan this evening. The agenda covered furthering the cultural and civilizational connect between India and Cambodia. They also discussed ways to enhance development cooperation and people-to-people ties. President Murmu hosted a state banquet in honor of the visiting dignitary. Providing a fillip to India-Cambodia ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a warm meeting with King of Cambodia Norodom Sihamoni in New Delhi this evening. They reviewed bilateral relations and discussed ways to advance India-Cambodia partnership in domains of capacity building, human resource development, tourism, culture and defense. They also exchanged views on regional and multilateral issues. King Norodom Sihamoni also met Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. They had wide-ranging discussions on bilateral relations and other issues of mutual interest. Earlier, Mr. Norodom Sihamoni was accorded a guard of honor at Rashtrapati Bhavan this morning. The King of Cambodia arrived in New Delhi yesterday on a 3-day visit to India. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation DGCA has simplified the process for the grant of heliport license. Now, the applications for NOC or clearance to 5 external organizations can be routed through a single tab in the applicant's eGCA profile. DGCA grants heliport license or operational authorization to the heliports at the surface level as well as at elevated or rooftop of the buildings in compliance with aircraft rules and the relevant civil aviation requirements. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has laid special focus on ease of doing business. The ministry said this initiative will further ease and ensure the success of Udan 5.1. The window of applications under Production-Linked Incentive PLI Scheme 2.0 for IT hardware will open for the applicants from the 1st of next month. Recently, the government approved the PLI Scheme 2.0 for IT hardware with a budgetary outlay of 17,000 crore rupees to boost the country's manufacturing capabilities and increase exports under Self-Reliant India. The tenure of the scheme is 6 years and the expected investment will be over 2,400 crore rupees. It is expected that this will create more than 2 lakh employment opportunities, including 75,000 direct employments. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, has said India's growth momentum is likely to be sustained in 2023-24 in an atmosphere of easing inflationary pressures. According to the RBI's annual report released today, the country's sustained growth momentum is going to be on the back of sound macroeconomic policies, softer commodity prices, a robust financial sector, a healthy corporate sector, and a continued fiscal policy thrust on quality of government expenditure. The RBI report, however, added that there could be downside risks to the growth due to the slowing global growth, protracted geopolitical tensions, and new stress events in the global financial system. The Maharashtra government today rolled out a new financial scheme under which more than 1 crore farmers in the state will be paid 6,000 rupees annually. The scheme, Namo Shetkari Mahasamman Yojana, was approved at a cabinet meeting chaired by Chief Minister Eknath Shinde in Mumbai. Talking to reporters after the meeting, Mr. Shinde said the amount was in addition to 6,000 rupees paid to farmers in installments per year by the centre under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana. He said the decision to implement the all-inclusive crop insurance scheme in the state was also taken in the cabinet meeting held today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will chair the 22nd summit of the SCO Council of Heads of State on the 4th of July. It will be held in the virtual format. India assumed a rotating chairmanship of SCO at the Samarkand summit on the 16th of September last year. The External Affairs Ministry said the theme of the summit is towards a secure SCO. The ministry said India has set up new pillars of cooperation under its chairmanship. India has worked towards fostering greater people-to-people ties that celebrate the historical and civilizational bonds between the nations. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. One of the biggest achievements of the NDA government during the last 9 years has been providing free treatment to the poor people in the country, as well as providing proper medical facilities in remote areas. More details from our Raipur correspondent Vikalp Shukla.
Whether providing sanitary pads to women at affordable rates or providing generic medicines to people or providing free treatment up to rupees 5 lakh through Ayushman card, the steps taken by the NDA government in the last 9 years have addressed the health-related concerns of the poor people of the country to a great extent. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the country's first health and wellness center in the remote Jangla village of Chhattisgarh's Maoist-affected Bijapur district about 5 years ago in April 2018. People in Chhattisgarh are receiving a lot of benefits through Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. About 60% of the people who have been treated so far through this scheme are women. Besides, more than 9,000 government hospitals have been registered in Chhattisgarh under the Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. And now, electronic health cards are being issued in these hospitals. Through this card, all the documents related to the patient's examinations are available online and doctors from any hospital can access these documents. This relieves patients from many formalities related to documentation. Approximately 5,000 primary health centers, sub-health centers and urban health centers are being upgraded and operated as health and wellness centers in Chhattisgarh. As a result, quality treatment is now available to poor people at affordable rates near their homes. Vikalp Shukla, Akashvani News, Raipur.
U.S. Ambassador to India Eric Garcetti has said that the United States court has approved the extradition of 2611 Mumbai attacker Tahabur Rana, and it is a sort of collaboration and cooperation where both the U.S. and India are working together to bring terrorists to justice. He said the U.S. and India stand together, and a recent demonstration of this was one of the funders of that attack can be extradited from the United States to India.
We know that we stand together, and recent demonstration of this was one of the funders of that attack that happened in Mumbai is now, by an American court, said that he can be extradited to the United States. There's a couple more steps of appeals, but it's that sort of collaboration and cooperation where our people are working together to bring terrorists to justice, and we won't stop.
Russia has accused Ukraine of launching an early morning drone attack on Moscow, the first time the city has been targeted by multiple drones since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry said Kiev had staged an attack using at least 8 drones and causing minor damage to several buildings. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said no one was seriously injured. Russia's Defense Ministry said all 8 drones had been intercepted. Meanwhile, Ukraine has denied carrying out the drone strikes. An amendment agreement to extend the tenure of a $1 billion credit facility was signed today between India and Sri Lanka. The agreement marks an important step in continuing the financial support provided by the Indian side to the Sri Lankan government for procurement of essential items. We have this report.
With the signing of the amendment agreement, the tenure of the $1 billion credit line that was made available to Sri Lanka last year has now been extended until March of 2024. The credit line was made available last year when Sri Lanka was in the midst of its worst ever economic crisis. The facility has been instrumental in the urgent procurement of critical supplies for the island nation, such as fuel, medicines, food items, and industrial raw materials. This extension of financial support further underscores the strong commitment of the Government of India as it continues to assist Sri Lanka with a comprehensive package of approximately $4 billion in line with India's Neighbourhood First policy. For Akashvani News, Ahmed Moin Farooqi from Colombo.
The southwest monsoon today further advanced into some parts of southwest and southeast Bay of Bengal, entire Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Andaman Sea, and some parts of east central Bay of Bengal. Talking to Akashvani News, senior scientist at India Meteorological Department IMD, R.K. Jenamani said the conditions are favourable for further advance of the monsoon into some parts of the Maldives and Comorin area, some more parts of southwest, southeast, and central Bay of Bengal during the next 2 to 3 days.
30th May, southwest monsoon has further advanced into more parts of southwest Bay of Bengal and almost entire southeast Bay of Bengal, Andaman Sea, and almost all parts of Andaman Nicobar Island. It has covered also Port Blair. The monsoon has been late by almost 1 week for this area, but for further next 3 to 4 days, the conditions are favorable to monsoon further progress into more parts of Bay of Bengal. It can cover also parts of northeast Bay of Bengal.
Meanwhile, IMD has predicted rain and gusty winds in northwest India during the next 2 days. It said hailstorm is expected in isolated places over North Rajasthan, Jammu Division, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Punjab during the next 2 days. Rajasthan and Uttarakhand are expected to witness thundersquall today and tomorrow. In Khelo India University Games, Savitribai Phule Pune University conquered their final quest with a 2-0 victory over defending champions Osmania University to clinch their first gold medal in the women's tennis event in Ekana International Tennis Stadium, Lucknow. Meanwhile, women tennis players of Jain University outdid the University of Madras 2-0 to clinch the bronze medal. Indian cyclist Isao Albon won the bronze medal in the elite men's Keirin event at a UCI Class 1 event finale by Nantone 2023 cycling competition in Dudenhofen, Germany. The 22-year-old also listed himself in being the first cyclist from India to participate in the UCI Champions League. Albon was also the first Indian who won a medal in a cycling world championship. He clinched a silver medal in the year 2018 after finishing behind world champions medalist Germany's Marc Jurčić and Francis Sebastian Vischer. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch BJP's month-long mass outreach campaign from Ajmer tomorrow to mark completion of 9 years of government. Home Minister Amit Shah holds series of meetings with all stakeholders to restore peace in Manipur, assures centre's full assistance. King of Cambodia Norodom Sihamoni meets President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. RBI says country's growth momentum to be sustained in current fiscal amid easing inflationary pressures. And drone strikes hit residential areas of Moscow. Russia accuses Ukraine for attacks. That is all in the news at 9. Good night.